Alrighty. Alrighty. Okay. We're live. Perfect. Let me turn down the volume for myself quick. Alrighty. And share this to the fancy new Discord. Tonight, I am going to keep things a bit short. So, it's just going to be a mapping stream, no video games tonight. Well, no Ocarina of Time tonight. And tonight's goal is to basically make a mountain here. I was thinking of this one, but I like this as it is, so it might make more sense to just build the mountain out of the middle of this area here. Turn off fog. There we go. That's easier to see. But yeah. Auto save. Now, of all times. Hey, Acbrix. Let me move this chat over so I can see it easier. There we go. Max. Alright, so I wanted to block off more of the view so that it's just not staring into nothingness like this. And I thought a good way to do that might be... Actually, what's the size of this? 50 by 15? Ugh. It might help to make like a mountain here. That's my thought anyway. Besides, I haven't done any texture work on this side. Oh yeah. How are you, Acbrix? Oh, I guess I did technically texture down there, but whatever. I'm not going to count it. That's easy enough to fix anyway. Well, redo. You're well? I'm still a bit sick, but I've been feeling better every day. So, yeah. A bit better every day anyhow. I don't love that that's pushing up those, but it's probably fine. Yeah. I'm also kind of unemployed. Kind of. I'm on call. That probably means unemployed. I was hoping they'd switch me over to full-time, but I guess that's not going to happen. It might still happen, but it doesn't seem like it. I don't have any competition, but it also doesn't seem like they have any positions they want open, so... That's kind of a bummer. It's a good start, though. This mountain, I mean. Mostly I was doing it for the health insurance, but... Oh well. I'm sure I can find something else. No, it's not good, but... Then again, on the other hand, I'm not sure I really want a job where I have to wake up super early every day. I was definitely not handling that super well. I was managing, but I wouldn't say handling super well. I'm going to turn off the grass so it stops distracting me. It is what it is. Which is disappointing, but oh well. Been thinking I need to find a good day job. Oh, how was your Christmas? It was pretty good. I spent it with family. And then that family left and more family arrived. With like only 2-hour crossover. And that was on Wednesday, which is why I didn't stream that day. But also, I was pretty sick that day, so... Excuse me. I still have a bit of a cough. Mostly a cold, though. Yeah. I probably will be keeping this a short stream because this is one of the few days they're here. But they're all watching a movie anyway, so. However, I would like to watch potentially the next movie with them, though. Possibly. But we'll see. Hopefully Galaxy Quest, but we'll see. Depends what people feel like. I want to watch Galaxy Quest, though. I don't know if you've seen Galaxy Quest, but it's a pretty funny movie. Yeah, it's a good movie. We need your help. A few months ago. It's fun. Like, it's very much a parody of, I think, The Next Generation, but it's also kind of just its own thing. You don't really have to have seen Star Trek to get it. It's probably one of its strengths. In hindsight, I wish I'd made the surrounding mountains taller. I still can in some parts, but other parts less so. See, that's okay. I want it so that, like, when you stare straight out, you see cliff faces, mountains. You don't see just endlessness, but I suppose it's whatever. EAWX Economy is tomorrow. I still don't have a good screenshot for this. Maybe tomorrow before it starts I can try to get something together for a good screenshot of this. I apparently made 13 maps this time since Point 3's launch. So it's 13 maps to show off, though. I won't spend very long on them. I'll probably just do a slideshow. I had some longer videos I wanted to make, but I haven't finished them yet. When was Point 3 anyway? Losing track of time. That music just ended, so... Ooh, perhaps I can, August 15th? Ooh, okay. Yeah, I guess, okay. 5 minutes? Alright. If I can, maybe I can get this mountain to extend out pretty far and just make it a massive mountain that reaches really far out. Blocks a lot of the view, and I could just kind of combine it into this range here, perhaps? 1.3, okay. Alright, so 13 maps in a little over 5 months. Not bad. 5.5 months. Plus unfinished Myrth. It's just making me want to listen to Hang on. I'm gonna turn off all this and go find some Burning Crusade music quick. Burning Crusade, where are you at? Burning Crusade. Now scroll down. There we go. Wait. Yeah, that's good enough. Hellfire Peninsula isn't very fitting for this map, but I do feel like listening to it. 3 months since I started mapping. I've only been able to make 3. 4 if you count my first map, but that map is unusable. I mean, it's all practice. And, like, some are more masterful than others of the ones I've made. Some I made in, like, 8 hours. Others I made in 5 days. But many, they take a while. But it depends. Like, Myrth is still ongoing. But I managed to make, like, 3 maps in the time that I finished it. 3 short ones. So, I mean, it's all about doing what's hard. And that taking longer than doing what's easy. I like this music. It's very StarCraft in a way, I think. I really need to play Warcraft 3 sometime on stream. Go. But yeah, you shouldn't feel bad about how many maps you've made. Warcraft 3 is a real-time strategy game. In fact, it's considered one of the best ones. Or it was, before Reforged messed up some things. It was considered a pioneer in the genre. Not the first or anything, but certainly innovating the way video game stories and RTSs are played. Like, World of Warcraft was pretty revolutionary when it first came out. But it's fair to say a lot of people were fans of Warcraft 2 and 3 as well. Warcraft 1 is a joke. Okay, so basically, some history here. Blizzard Entertainment Studios, the very, very small company at the time, were given a license by the Warhammer people to make a game, but then they started making it, but then they lost the license. But they kept making the game anyway, and they called it Warcraft. They didn't really have any lore. In fact, when they hired the voice actor to voice the line of the units, they didn't even give him direction. They just let him make up whatever he wanted. They just said, please record lines for these units. Because they were so stressed, overworked, because like they were basically a small company just let out into the cold to die that didn't want to fail. And they ended up making an okay, for the time, game. It's certainly Warcraft 1 is certainly not revolutionary in any regards. In fact, it's very annoying to play, I've been told, with a lot of very frustrating mechanics that make it tedious and kind of boring. Alright, so that was Warcraft 1. It's successful enough that they don't die as a company and they get to expand a bit. Part of that expansion is hiring a guy called Chris Metzen. Chris Metzen is super passionate about tabletop games, and he's hired as an artist, and he draws the art for Warcraft 2, but he's also super passionate about storytelling and tabletop games. So he ends up writing a whole shitload of lore for Warcraft 2 and including it in the manual of Warcraft 2. It's very basic, but it's actually lore, unlike Warcraft 1, which the lore is literally stuff like there's like 2 or 3 kind of interesting things from Warcraft 1, but the majority of it is like Christian wizards fight orcs from hell. Like that's basically the lore. Metzen was like, I'm gonna throw out all of that. Okay, so the orcs come to the planet because they're being driven by demons, but they don't necessarily want to follow the demons, so I'm going to have the orcs betray the demons at the end, and that they're going to work together, but they're not going to like each other, and then it's only going to be a matter of time before one betrays the other. And that's kind of like Warcraft 2. They also added like a whole bunch of new races, like goblins and trolls, and dwarves and high elves, rather than just humans versus orcs. And that's like the first time we actually see Warcraft as Warcraft, because Warcraft 1 is a hot mess that's neither very good nor very recognizable today. It also breaks ties with all the realized stuff, like these are Christian wizards from King Arthur's court, I guess? It basically cuts ties to all of that. Then Warcraft 3. Basically, oh, I should mention, Warcraft 2 I could be wrong, but I think it's actually the very first online multiplayer game ever. Like, the very first one. It might have been the very first online multiplayer game. Warcraft 2. And it's also, if you've ever heard PWN, like pwned, that's from Warcraft 2. Warcraft 2 community memes. This is like pre-2000s, mind you. So this is like the very beginning of the internet. And but yeah, Warcraft 2 is like a huge early thing that people like tend to forget Warcraft 2's importance and power. But like a lot of the internet comes from Warcraft 2. Like, not literally, but like a lot of important stuff comes from Warcraft 2. But where the game series really peaked for a lot of people is Warcraft 3. Warcraft 3, so I mentioned Chris Metzen. After Chris Metzen, they brought on a new artist called Samwise, and he ended up drawing a lot of stuff for them as well. Chris Metzen basically left artistry to go full-time into storytelling for Warcraft. Because not a ton of the story was necessarily in-game, but those manuals were full of lore. Like, he wrote a shitload of stuff in there. Warcraft 2 did have, like, some franchising stuff. Like, there are actually books that came out between Warcraft 2 and Warcraft 3. Stuff like that. Like Day of the Dragon. But I feel like I should explain that Chris Metzen, because he's basically the George Lucas of Warcraft, even though he wasn't there at the very beginning, it's hard to call Warcraft 1 true Warcraft, because there's a couple things that appear in like World of Warcraft, and then there's Medivh and Cat, but like a lot of it just doesn't matter. or isn't very good. Like, it's very much... There's stuff. I can't say there isn't stuff, but Warcraft really did start, like, to find its identity with Metzen. Metzen, I guess I have to talk about his personal life a little bit. I don't know a lot, but I know that he grew up in what he has vaguely alluded to being an abusive Christian household, and he went, or in Christian environment, I should say, because I don't know what his family was like. But he's alluded to there being enough frustration and abuse that he became a militant atheist. And he was that for a lot of his early life. But then in his early 20s, sometime after Warcraft 2, he refound religion, and he started to see it in a new light as less of something that is always bad and abusive, and more as something that can be used for good or evil. And so that caused a huge change in him. And it caused a huge change in the story, too. Because it's undeniable that there are huge parts of Warcraft 3 that are almost certainly influenced by that exact happening. So, in Warcraft 3, the orcs are, quote, evil, but it's sort of revealed that they used to have a very deep religion, but they lost that religion, and they became demon worshippers and cultists of the demons. And part of Warcraft 3 is basically set. Okay, so what's worth noting is that Warcraft 2 was a worldwide war. Like, it engulfed the entire world. All over the world, there were sea battles, land battles, everywhere. Everyone was fighting over Warcraft 2. Warcraft 3 is set like 25 years later. The orcs have been defeated. They've been either living as roaming marauders. The Orgrussers have been living as marauders and have basically established their own bandit camps all over the world. The goblins went independent, and they actually started to do pretty good. Despite losing the war, they initially went bankrupt, but then they bounced back. And that's a whole other story in itself. The trolls basically abandoned the whole thing and were like, fuck it, I don't want to be with the Horde. The orcs all were put into internment camps, the ones that were captured. And the influence of the demon magic that was running through their veins, their veins were literally infused with the blood of the Fel, or the demon blood. With the withdrawal, it made them lethargic, and they just stopped caring, and they just didn't care about anything at all. Without the demon's rage to drive them, there was nothing left. Thrall is a young orc who has somehow avoided the demon's taint, which is a whole story in itself, how he managed to avoid that. And he is the son of one of the few chieftains to object to the whole war, but his parents were assassinated by other orcs when he was very young, though he doesn't remember that, and was instead raised by humans. Some of whom were kind to him, some who were abusive. As he becomes older, he learns the truth about himself and his people, and he is inspired to try to reunite his people and to find a new land for them. And basically, it's the story of Moses combined with Worf, along with Chris Metzen's own life. And Thrall, who could be arguably the main character of Warcraft, ends up leading his people across the sea to a difficult land, but in the process of doing so, he comes into contact with new enemies, new threats, but he also finds new allies. Allies who happen to be extremely spiritual and have their own religions and teach their own versions of shamanism, which was the religion the orcs had before they succumbed to the demon's influence and became warlocks. Thrall is a young shaman and one of the few remaining, because most of the rest became cultists. As he meets shaman from other religions and other species, his knowledge expands greatly, and basically it's as much a literal journey to find a promised land as it is a spiritual journey for the orcs. And yeah, Thrall, and I don't want to give away too much, but they come into a lot of conflict with enemies. They make a new allies. Thrall finds religious figures and father figures in the leaders of other tribes and other people. Like, the forest trolls abandoned them after Warcraft 2, but he ends up running into a specific branch of jungle trolls and allies with them because they have a mutual enemy in the Naga. He comes to Kalimdor, the Promised Land, and he meets basically Native American cow people called Tauren, and they're being hunted by Centaur, their mortal enemies. He saves them from the Centaur because the Centaur also attacked them, and the leader of the Tauren, Cairn, ends up teaching Thrall a great deal about shamanism, more than he could have ever hoped to know. And this ends up being a spiritual, religious revival for the orcs. And eventually it ends with them overthrowing their remaining shackles to the demons. After that, it's a story of trying to find peace with the humans, who it turns out have also been screwed over by the demons in a totally different way, and have their own corrupt leaders to deal with. And then they come into conflict with, as well as conflict with the Night Elves, who don't really like either outsider, being either humans or orcs, in their land, and think they're both threats, but it turns out they're all united against a common enemy, which is the demons returning to Azeroth, the world. And it kind of culminates in the three armies joining together, along with mercenaries of just random hostile groups that were like your opponents 3 missions ago. They kind of set aside their differences to join you as mercenary units mechanically. Like, the Dark Trolls are not your allies, but the Dark Trolls do ally with you for the fight against the demons, because it's just as much a threat to them as to you. And it's really hard to do it service, because that's just one of the many stories in Warcraft 3. But yeah, the other story is the story of Arthas, which is very similar to Anakin's story, but actually came out first to some extent. Well, it came out before Revenge of the Sith anyway. Yeah. Hi, I came just back from a train ride to PG. Well, welcome back. I'm still doing stuff with my family these days, so with the vacation well, not vacation. I didn't say my address. That's fine. I don't want to know. So I'm still a little preoccupied to jump back into mapping fully. A little too preoccupied to jump back into mapping fully, or play Ocarina of Time yet. But I think definitely by the next week I should be clear again. Honestly, Warcraft 3 is a genuinely good game, even today, that does hold up. Like, there's a lot of flaws with World of Warcraft, but Warcraft 3 still holds up, even with a few gameplay jank things. Half-Life games? You know, I've never tried them. I've heard they're dated, but that they were inspirational for basically the whole shooter genre, so I don't know. I've never tried them, though. Alright, let's turn on objects and see the damage. Um, I think this should be a giant peak, but otherwise that's pretty good. All of them are sale for just $380 right now. Ooh, I might get them. Oh, but I actually like these mountains. All right, whatever. Alrighty. Okay, big mountain right here. It's got to be done. Might as well reuse this peak. Alright. Oh, excuse me. Ooh, perfect, perfect, perfect. Autosave. I'm enjoying Half-Life 1 right now. Is it hard? Is it a really hard game? I was always under the impression that it'd be like a really... not... I always figured it would be kind of hard to get into because of difficulty, but I don't know. Not really. Oh, okay. Okay. I mean, I could try it then. Because I just don't want like a game where I'm like constantly stuck. I don't know. I've become very casual as I've gotten older. That's for sure. More about the story and exploration than difficulty, I suppose. Song playing right now is called Dry Forest from World of Warcraft, The Burning Crusade. And it's a track I've always wanted to use with a map, but I've never decided on one yet. Maybe I'll pick up Half-Life 3. Oh, interesting. It's a surprise, but a pleasant one, I suppose. Again, I'm probably terrible. I'm pretty bad at shooters. I might pick it up, but I probably won't play it just because I'll need to get a new controller. I haven't found Zelda difficult per se, but I've definitely noticed that I could be doing better, and I'm convinced it's because of the controller. So maybe I was a little too harsh on Star Fox. Maybe part of the problem was actually my controller, but we'll see. Admittedly, I've mostly used this controller for like Final Fantasy 12, which is not very action at all. I mean, it kind of is, but it isn't. Precision aiming is not an issue in 12, we'll put it that way. It works made for keyboard and mouse. Oh, interesting. Oh yeah, that makes sense. I forgot about that. I think it does work on controller though. You can toggle auto aim. Oh, goodness. Oh yeah, I guess it would be more advanced than I assumed. Listening to... Yeah, Blade's Edge. It's still Blade's Edge. For some reason I thought it was Tarot Car. Alright. Huh. You know, for some reason I thought that mountain would take me all day. I just realized I'm already moving on to new mountains. But that's good. This map definitely needs to be done before point 4, but it's taking quite a while. Let's try something a little different. Sharpness up. I have it off because I ain't no cheat. You know what game I definitely need to play? It's Chrono Trigger. I think Final Fantasy VI is probably one of the best RPGs ever made, but, well, at least story-wise. But people tell me Chrono Trigger is somehow even better. I definitely need to try it sometime. Never heard of Chrono Trigger? Well, okay, that's fair. It's supposed to be insanely good as far as JRPGs go. It's considered probably, I think many people consider it the best JRPG of that era for the SNES. I don't really know what it's about other than I think it has time travel. But I do want to remain mostly unspoiled because the story is supposed to be really good. That mountain needs to be sharper. Is this Netherstorm? Yes, Netherstorm. Did we skip Tarot Car? Oh, we did. Let's skip ahead to Coilfang Reservoir, and then it'll go into Tarot Car. Slide this down. Make a shoulder vein for the mountain. Whatever you want to call it. That's a weird mountain shape. I don't like it. But it's hard to work with this height. Do I just lower the whole thing, perhaps? Alright, so lower the whole thing but raise the sides. Perhaps that's the trick here. Alright. Alrighty. That'll probably work. That'll probably do. just make a small peak on top now. There we go. Oh, autosave. Must you? Got a problem with map editor where you get increased terrain height, or just gets super laggy. Huh. Not that I can remember like that. Lag in the editor tends to, well, saving lag from the editor is usually tied to stuff like objects placed. Alright, how's that? Good enough. This should be cleaned up a bit. There we go. There we go. Definitely a bit of work. It does on totally every map, that no matter how many objects there are. Huh. For you? Interesting. Unfortunate, though. But interesting. Oh dear. I wonder if I should just bite the bullet and place some trees out of bounds. I don't know how much I would actually add, though. Hey, there we go. Oh, excuse me. Let's try that. Alright, now I'm saving properly. Oh, my goodness. I might have to end this stream early. I can feel my throat going from talking. Which hasn't even been that much, I don't think. Cold is kicking my butt. No reason to give it an excuse to do it more. Oh, I've been streaming 46 minutes. Let's go for an hour. Hope that's chill with everybody. Has Corey been still playing Spore? I've watched a little bit of that. I watched most of that first episode, but I haven't. I've been kind of too busy to keep following up. Will I be streaming someday? I believe I will. I don't have work the next day, but if nothing else, it'll be a short stream like this. I think. Oh, hello. Don't go through the ground. No, he just played it once to my knowledge. That's fine. I do want to see how he feels about the next stages, at least. He's playing Spiral right now. Yeah, I mean, it's a much more fun game. How's this look from a distance? Kind of awkward, but okay, I suppose. You know what? I'll leave it. These are fine. A little weird, but fine. Over here, though. Let's see if we can make these mountains super massive. This one, at least. Give it a giant peak. This can be retextured, it just needs to be bigger. There we go. If I can add more mountains that block out more of the view, it'll look better. This is definitely over investing for this one map, but the nice part is, and I'm looking at the camera that isn't there. The nice part is that this height map can be reused and turned into other maps later. I'll change around the inside, of course, but the outside mountains can be completely reused, and that'll be nice. Perhaps I'll use it for Galadran, even. Galadran would need some editing, though. Then again, Galadran could probably get away with a lot. Oh yeah, Q? What's up? Flatten this out a bit. Raise it up. Flatten it out. Push up the sides. Spaces in between. Between here as well. Backside, definitely. Here and here. Flatten it out. Oh, excuse me. And here. I have reason to believe you are directly responsible for the update to the map editor. What's that reason? Source last AW's con stream. What happened there? Oh yeah, is the chat response for that video working yet, or is that still broken? I remember it bothered me that the chat was broken, but I don't know if it ever got fixed. Oh, this is, what is it? Tarot Car Forest. I always like this theme. Petroglyph came into the stream, asked what would help with modding, and you suggest update the map editor. That's probably part of it. Though I know, there were devs that do mapping that agreed to be part of Petroglyph's testing thing, which I never signed up for, so I had no direct influence on it, but given how vocal I am about certain things, it probably did have an indirect influence. What's that? Yeah, I'll just leave that. These could be taller, but whatever. Which means there is a minor but direct connection. I rest my case. I mean, I never said there wasn't. Although it is probably good that I spoke up then. It probably did help. Vine was supposed to help, but now it's hurting me. It's weird. Oh, that's just... Okay, so it's not anything wrong with the work I did now. It just looked bad before. Great. Yeah. You know, people used to hate Waluigi. I completely forgot about that. But I guess that was a big thing back in the day. The more you know. Where? The music a little too low. Why did you hate Waluigi? Because the way he was introduced was not great. Basically, he was just an unnecessary extra character that was often added just because he was convenient. And so it's like, why not add a more original character or something instead of this guy? But he was often added just because it was convenient or lazy. But then everyone grew up with him and they kind of warmed up to him over time. So now people are like, yes, include Waluigi. Whereas before it was like, oh, do you have to include Waluigi? So, yeah. Also, what was a video I watched earlier? I can't remember who made it, but they were talking about how a big part of it was also that Luigi didn't really have a personality before Luigi's Mansion. So in that time period, having Waluigi as his foil was kind of meaningless because it's like, he's the opposite of Luigi. Well, what's Luigi? It's like Jar Jar. I mean, you're not wrong. Although I think people dislike Jar Jar that they've grown up. I don't know. I liked him when I was a kid. Now I'm just kind of like, I want them to do something nice to him, for him. When I heard the Jar Jar actor was in the escape from Order 66 scene of Mandalorian or whatever it was, I remember being kind of excited and hoping that it was a scene where, like, Jar Jar saves the baby, but then it's just like the actor that plays Jar Jar. I'm like, oh, okay. Okay, sure. I guess that's fine. He's that guard guy, right? No, he was a Jedi. But he was like a fake guard in Attack of the Clones. Him and Anthony Daniels were playing, I forget his name, Ahmed something? Him and Anthony Daniels were playing two guys in a bar that were dressed as judicials, but were actually con artists. Which is why they kind of glare at Obi-Wan when he comes in like, oh shit, is he here to rat us out? But Obi-Wan just ignores them. They got an unnecessary amount of extra story in the background. And I always wondered why as a kid, but then as an adult I was like, oh, because it's Anthony Daniels and Ahmed. That's why. But it confused me a lot as a kid as to why two very small background characters were getting such long backstories. In not even like a side novel. It was in like the visual novel or something like that. The visual guide to the movie or something like that. The more you know. There's actually a very cute... you know how like... Do you remember the video on Quell where I showed off the comic that has Ayla Secura getting a droid brain to escape with or whatever? Well, there was one of those for an episode, and it opens with Jar Jar and C-3PO getting outsmarted by those fake judicials. So it's Anthony Daniels and Ahmed talking to Anthony Daniels and Ahmed. Which is very goofy but cute. I believe this is Shakrath music. Something peaceful about it. say. It's a cute comic, though. Very goofy, but I appreciate the cameo. It's written by Hidalgo, I believe, Pablo Hidalgo. So, it was very much a cute nod to the fact that these two extras are played by C-3PO and Jar Jar. Oh, autosave. I think that ought to do it. Oh, wait, no, this mountain looks kind of janky. Let's fix this mountain, then we'll call it there. Past one hour mark now. Yeah, I know. As soon as I get this mountain done, I think we'll call it. My throat's killing me a bit. You know what? I'm going to be a little reckless here. Just raise this whole side of the mountain. Just full on raise the whole thing. It needs some work, but it's... There we go. There we go. Yeah, that's satisfying. Alright, let's go to passability. Just run steep over everything here. Don't need traces of clear hanging about. Hogging about. Seems there's already some I left behind. Forgot about, but that's okay. Whatever. Alright, and I'm going to save there. I did what I set out to do. I raised a mountain, then I raised a few more mountains, and I did it on the other side as well. That's success. Anyway, good night, Akbrix. Good night, Water. And anyone else. Oof. I will see you on Sunday, hopefully with a better throat. Oh, that's New Year's Day. Funny. Anyway, good night.